So media representation in Hungary has become one-sided since 2010, when currently governing right-wing Fidesz party gained power in the national election, reaching a two-thirds majority in the parliament. More than 20 years after the transition to democracy, Hungary now faces yet another censorship-dominated and government-led media representation. Conservative and nationalist voices have earned near hegemony in the last print press and in the print press and the broadcast media, whereas liberal and opposition views have been largely marginalized. The Fidesz government had implemented a new public media fund in 2010, which enabled the government to fully take over control in the public media with many television and radio channels. By the mid-2010s, the government had transformed most outlets into tools of pro-government propaganda, enabling them a large-scale anti-immigration campaign in 2016. Pro-government outlets currently include 14 public service broadcasters, nationwide commercial television channels, cable news channels, several local and network radio stations, tabloids, and the majority of online news outlets. With the purchase of mostly all local newspapers, it is now estimated that some of 90% of all media in Hungary is directly or indirectly controlled by the government. Given the background of media ecology in Hungary, the question arises what the government uses these mass communication channels for. As an example, when migration was a very hot topic in Hungary in 2015, the government spent 35 million euros on anti-immigration campaigns in the period of 2015 and 2016, preceding the referendum against the European Union's migration relocation plans. During this media campaign, pro-government TV and radio stations were flooded with xenophobic incitements. And as we demonstrate in the report, the political narrative of the Hungarian government has been monotonous, normalizing xenophobia and rejecting all sorts of foreignness over the last decade. We believe that this political narrative contributed to the growing far-right radicalization in the country, which had its own roots in Hungarian historical legacies and has been amplified during the so-called refugee crisis. Next slide, please. So we treat the government narratives during the refugee crisis to set the basis of what we developed as the migration-related radicalization, or MRR. A taxpayer-funded campaign targeted migrants and incited the nation against the EU in migration. Close inspection of media discourse during the time when migration increased in Hungary shows that the independent media could not produce an alternative voice to government propaganda. Hence, we established that the freedom of press in Hungary was at serious risk at the time. In 2015, video showing the Hungarian camera woman Petra László defending Hungary. This video went viral. For this particular case, we were studying 3 YouTube videos and many user comments associated with these videos. Moreover, 10 online news stories, including those written by both liberal and conservative media outlets, to see how the camerawoman's trial and the eventual verdict have generated polarization across the media outlets. As you can see on the pictures, the camerawoman was working for a TV channel called Nationalist TV, and was kicking and tripping a refugee crossing the border into Hungary. This video went massively viral and circulated in traditional and social media platforms as well. It also went viral globally, as the videos and images portraying this camera woman were filmed by a German reporter who posted the incident on Twitter, and his post reached over 9.3 million views. So criminal charges were immediately brought upon this woman, and she was fired from her workplace. Although the aftermath of the incident became shifted when the government media started to portray her as a hero, the Fidesz media empire came to reflect on this issue, calling it merely a defamatory campaign by the international liberal media and Brussels that represent the left liberal political elite establishment, while also sending the message that whoever is against this is basically against us. In this report, we analyzed comments under both the original video and reposts. We found that her actions were highly polarizing, as many sided with her and with the government narrative, while others condemned her actions entirely. Later, this camerawoman was hired by the right-wing pro-government medium. Charges were dropped against her by the court, and she even won an award for her documentary, showing that she was fully absolved from her actions, although she never apologized, and she mainly stated that people falsely claimed that she had kicked anyone. So with this case, we established that migration-related radicalization has been highly present in Hungary, and it was portrayed in the traditional media extremely one-sided due to the government's influence on media outlets. And then we came across a considerably complex case of cultural radicalization due to the government's dominance in culture and education. This part of the report reflects on a more historical legacies-focused elaboration of radicalization. The report details 3 cases that intertwine with one another in showcasing how Fidesz government's dominance affect culture into the polarization of the society, which are explained in depth in the report. These case studies are quite complex for me to demonstrate in this presentation. The report presents cases how a writer, Dard Vas, became a face for right-wing extremism, and how he influenced the Hungarian public philosophy with the way his canon was used to interpret the Trianon Treaty, which is a historically very crucial event that still affects the way Hungarians discuss injustice and express grievance. We analyzed pro-government theater director who took over control the cultural curriculum and directed nationalist and irredentist plays in the National Theatre of Hungary, and we used the theater as it is a performative art which is expected to present and to create room for the people who want to have their voices heard. So in this case, in case this voice is censored by the political regime or the new, so in this case, if their voice is censored by the political regime, or the new generations of artists are grown under this kind of oppression, there will be tension between culture and politics. So we also explain the case how a long-going dispute between university students and political elite deepened everyday polarization and alienation in Hungary. And finally, our report also points at the historical roots of injustice claims in Hungary, as the wider society faced the others and their competing claims against Hungarian national myth. We trace cultural legacies established in such interpretations and show that they could as well trigger radicalization, considering their grievance manipulation potentials. Thank you.